Alright, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do our finished floor elevation as well as finishing our grade. The first thing I want you to do is to create a section view. So if you click View and then Section, you want to make a section view right through the middle of your house. We'll use that here in a minute. If you remember, our finished grade is supposed to slope from the house down a ½ inch per foot. And since right here we're at 562 feet, we need this floor, the finished floor of our house, to be above that so it can slope down to this 562 feet. So I'm going to create another line again and make it like 4 feet from the house, and then I can do my elevation of where I want the house to sit. So I'm going to click Annotate and Detail Line, and I'm just going to choose, I think, my overhead electric line, just because I know it's green, and that's okay with me. I'm not going to really use this line much. In fact, I can delete it after I'm finished. But I want that to be about 4 feet back. Now, this line right here is my roof, so I don't need to be concerned with that. I actually need to be from the floor plan, so make sure you're not choosing the roof line. So I'm going to click this tool that says Pick Lines, and I'm going to change my offset to 4 feet, and then I'm going to start choosing my house lines, and this time I want to be on the outside of the house, not the inside, so that dotted blue line shows up 4 feet outside of the house. I'm going to click that. If you do have a porch, I would recommend that you click the outside of the porch, because you want the ground with your house and your porch to be the same. So I'm going to choose that line. Don't worry about that this line's real short right now. We'll lengthen that in a minute. I'm going to go over and choose this wall of my house, and then I'll choose the back wall of my house as well. And again, I don't need to choose the roof, but I do need to make sure that's on the outside. So you can see that they're not all connected right now, so I do want those connected, so I'm going to click this Trim Extend to Corner tool, and then I'm going to just click those lines, and those will extend and connect to each other. So that one and this one, and then this one and this one down here, and then I can connect this one and this one finally. So we have around our house just a 4 foot back from the house, and the reason I did that is I want my elevations at those lines. That's where I want my 562 feet, and then you can see we're back a little bit far from that right now, 562 feet, but our elevation all around that line right now is 562 feet. So we don't have to set an elevation there. We already know that it's at 562 feet. The reason I chose 4 feet back is this corner right here was the closest corner to my house, and I knew that was 562 feet because that's that contour line that goes all the way around. So you may have to choose a different footage from your house depending on how close to the house you put your contour lines. Now, the next thing I know that is from my house, I'm going to go ahead and escape out of this, but from my house, the floor of my house to this line, I need to slope away at a rate of a ½ inch per foot. So I want the elevation of my house to be a ½ inch per foot, and if from there to there is 4 feet, ½ inch per foot, that would be 2 inches. So this floor needs to be 2 inches higher than at these lines here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the surface, and then the Edit Surface will come up, and I'm going to click Edit Surface, and I'm going to place points. I'm going to place them at my house, but I want those to be 2 inches higher than the 562. So I'm going to make those 562 and 2 inches. And it'll make sense why I made that green line here in a minute. Again, I don't need it to be at the roof. I can just be at the walls of my house. So we can just go along our house and place some points. Again, I would get the porch in there, and even your stairs, I would get those at 562, 2 inches. Might place another one here, and we'll work on this other contour line in just a minute. But I'm just going to go right now kind of along my house and place points that are 2 inches above my highest grade there. So I think on that one I chose the roof, so I'm going to come back and delete those that I just made. I think these are also at the roof. That's also at the roof, so let me fix that. I'm going to place points again, and this is the edge of the porch here, so I can go there, and here's a lot of times it's helpful to do it right at the corners. And then here's the corner of the house, and as I go around it's kind of moving that 562 contour line for me. And that's probably enough now. I am going to have to adjust this in a second. So you can see that we've got few little problems here where my 562 contour line comes inside of that green line that I made. That's the reason I made the green line. So I'm going to change my elevation again to 562, and I'm going to come along my green line, and anywhere that I see that my 562 contour line went inside of that green line, I'm just going to place some more points on the green line, and that will straighten that up and get everything outside of my green line. So that's what I'm doing now. It's just going around that green line and backing that 562 contour line up, so that for sure I'm 4 feet away. 562 feet is 4 feet away all the way around the house. Now it's okay if it's further away. I just don't want it inside of that green line that I made. So it looks like all this contour line that's 562 feet is definitely where we want it to be. So we are good on that. So I'm going to go ahead and click the check mark, and our contour lines and everything are correct. We can go and look at our 3D view. Well, before I do that, we're going to go to our section view now, because our first floor needs to be 8 to 10 inches above our finished grade that we have at the corners of the house that we just made, the 562 feet 2 inches. Our first floor needs to be 8 to 10 inches above that. You don't want your house sitting exactly on the ground, or you're going to have problems with water running in. So that's the next thing that we're going to do. So this section view that we just made, if you right click on that, you can, well, I may have to escape a couple times. Now right click on it and say go to view. And it's pretty small right now, so I'm going to zoom in on that. And one of the things that you'll want to do is you want to make sure down here you're in wireframe. That's the first thing I would do. And then the second thing I would do is there should be a thin lines button here. So I'm going to click thin lines, and that just helps you be able to see. So right now I'm going to find out what elevation my floor is at, and then I'll add 8 to 10 inches to it. So you can do that by clicking annotate, spot elevation, and then I'm going to zoom in on my floor, which is right here at the base of that wall. Not this, because that's the foundation. So this right here is the base of my first floor, so I'm just going to drag it up and click an elevation there. So 562, 11, and 11/16. Remember, we want it to be 8 to 10 inches above our grade that we put on. Our grade was 562.2, so we're actually really good. We're at 9, and if you subtract those two, you're at 9 and 11/16. So we're really good on that. Just so you know how to move it, what you would do, let me escape out of the elevation, but you would just click on your house here, and then you would click the move tool, and I would, let's say I want to raise it up, and I actually have some room to raise it up. You can be further up, especially if you have a crawl space or something. So I'm going to click the move tool and just click anywhere outside the house and drag straight up, and I want that to be obviously not 4 feet. Let me undo that. Try that again. So move tool, straight up, and I can just type in what I want it to be. I want to move it up 0 dash, let's just say an inch. So now it changed my elevation to 563, 11 and 16. So you can move it however far you need to. And then if you look at the 3D view, it should be good. So we'll take a look at that and see how that's looking. So there is my house sitting on. Because I have stairs, I may want to raise mine up even further. You can kind of decide how you want to do yours. Probably on mine, these stairs aren't even necessary. If I left it at that elevation, I might take the stairs out. But I could raise this up. I think this was supposed to be on a crawl space, so that was the reason for the stairs. But that should be it. That's how you get your finished grade and your first floor elevation.